Hunter, thank you for joining me today on Pop Culture Unplugged.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to plugging in with you or plugging
Exci-
out.
Exciting times. I heard we got a bet May 15th on Netflix. How do you feel about this? They've been pumping this up with the previews and everything in the last few weeks.
Oh, I feel like so many things. I feel like I am both the fire hose and also me drinking from the fire hose at the same time. And the water's just all the feelings. It's been a wild ride, and I'm really excited for folks to be able to see it. There's a lot of things I'm proud of, and a lot of questions I have that I'm looking forward to hearing what folks think about to hopefully help me answer them.
Right. And we see you in the series as Michael. I've seen a few episodes. I haven't finished the series yet, but how were you approached for the series? You want to tell us a little about that? Was it audition, somebody you knew that hey, we might have a part for you? How did this happen?
Yeah, I got this audition for the show. They were kind of on a high level, a little bit vague about what it was, and I was like, "Yeah, just an audition. Just let's send this off." Working with a reader that day that I wanted to have a good time with, and just play and then forget about it. I did forget about it, and then I heard a month later that I'd been cast in this show just off of that one audition, no testing, no chemistry reads, and
Wow.
then the next month, yeah, I was in Toronto, again diving into this wild world.
I spoke to Aviva about a week ago. She told me it was a different name during the script. What was your name? Do you remember what the name was?
Actually, it was Mike.
Was
Yeah,
it really?
it was Mike. One audition, and that's the one thing that stayed. I think they asked if I wanted to change the name, and I think I don't know. They kept it. I mean, maybe turned it into Michael after that conversation. But yeah, still the core character, and I was lucky to have the name because I can only remember a handful of things, so that was very convenient.
So when you booked the role, did you go do some research on it? Because it's based off, manga. How do you pronounce that word? Is it Kakegurui or something? How do you pronounce that? Do you know?
The people that I'm trying to emulate who can, say it properly, say something like Kakegurui, but
Kakegurui.
I should never be the bar for how to pronounce anything, really. In fact, don't say what I said to the folks that actually know how to say it. But, for me, Bet had many source materials and inspirations. The manga was absolutely one of them. But for
Yeah.
me, I would say this show it grows from the same soil as the manga, and for me, I really wanted to honor the spirit of it without flattening it by kind of
Mm.
playing a game of mimicry. So, my research definitely dived into the source material, but then I just followed what was interesting and exciting for me at the time and what I thought would help. All of which kind of sometimes get tossed out the window, especially when you get, the scripts, you get to meet the actors and the creative team. It kind of just unfolds from there.
Mm. Any does your character exist in that world though? Or was it made up for the series? Do you know?
Oh, he was made up for this
This
series.
yours
Yeah.
too, huh? That's what Aviva
Yeah.
told me about hers too.
Yeah. Is it, a new character? And I thought that that was great because Michael's the school outsider. He refuses to gamble. So for me, I was like, heck yeah, rock on. Let's not dive into, too much homework and try to try to coast through it and
Mm.
focus on what mattered to my character and to me as the actor.
That's awesome. What was the description for Michael when you after you booked it?
Oh, it was like someone like a rebel with a moral compass. That was the one phrase
Mm.
that kept me, and I feel like I was really intrigued as to, okay, so who's this person that refuses to participate, and also why? Is it about freedom? Is it about not wanting to strengthen a system that's toxic, that is set up to devour people? Or is it a distraction from that same system, that's trying to make sure people aren't thinking too much about the sights, sounds, and smells of a system that really breaks the loudest first?
Mm.
So for me, that one sort of phrase brought up a whole bunch of questions afterwards that I tried to explore with this character.
Mm. Where do you think Michael stands in the hierarchy after Yumeko's arrival in the series?
Okay, so if there is like a hierarchy, like maybe it's a
Right.
triangle right here, like the top of the Triforce, Michael would be really
Way
far
out.
away, way out of there, like hanging out, doing something else entirely. So that's what I would say. That's where Michael is in the school hierarchy.
Mm. Do you like that?
I mean, I like it because I was also like, well, why does someone do that? And we
Hmm.
learned how to hold cards and do card tricks and like all the different ways to shuffle and cut decks and whatnot at a sort of a boot camp during our prep week. And during that time, we were working with someone named Calvin Tong and a bunch of other incredible cardists Great pun there. Just wanted to praise myself. No, but I was basically learning that, when you are on the outside of sort of
Mm,
that card trick moment, that's when you're able to see how people's, attentions are being misdirected,
yeah.
how they're basically able to be manipulated and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I actually do like being on the outside so that I can kind of see what's going on and, know where is safe and know where is not safe.
Mm. Did Simon, one of the, was it one of the co-writers or Simon Barry and Boat Rocker, did they give you like a freedom the way you wanted to play this character? Let you run with it? Did you guys go back and forth?
Yeah, so many shows have their own ways of casting and working
Yeah.
with artists. I feel like what we centered in this production was trust and alignment.
Mm,
Simon extended trust and really created this opportunity for the actors who sort of were aligned with that inner world of the character as well as they could be, gave them the trust to be exploring and really bringing that character to life. And I feel like that created such a positive energy on set where there was space for us to show up with ideas, to take risks, to see what works, see what doesn't
yeah.
work too. So it
Mm.
was great.
I like how the show balances, you have your drama, your surreal visuals, you got mind games, for you as an actor, what was the most challenging or surprising part of filming?
The whole thing, for me, I was, constantly trying to prepare as much as I could, but then just forget it and discover what was
Mm,
needed in the scene. Because, when you're doing a scene, you can't, come into it with a whole bunch of preconceived ideas. You can only come into it and really meet not only the story and the scene and the words in those moments, but also what the other actor's bringing as well. So again, it was this gift of just being present with what you have and also discovering what you don't have yet.
definitely. I mentioned Yumeko earlier. How do you think Michael's relationship with Yumeko now evolves like over the course of the season, the first season?
So wild. I feel like it's this really interesting connection that I find is thrilling to watch. It's heartbreaking. It's also like really empowering and enriching, and it's something that I came to hold so dearly throughout the whole show. So what I love is, being able to watch a scene and you can kind of see what the characters are listening for and how they're choosing to open up or armor up as well.
Yeah.
And for me and Miku, discovering what those moments were on the days that we were filming was such a gift, and I'm most excited to hear how fans of the show will be kind of talking about that really beautiful relationship. And there are also other relationships in the show that
Yeah.
I'm stoked about, but with Yumiko being the star of this whole story, it was a real treat to be able to work with her on that.
Mm. Where do you put Michael? Do you put him as a I don't want to, you said outsider earlier, but do you put him as a little of a bad guy, a little of a good guy, a little bit in the middle? Where do you think you put him in?
I put him in that part in everyone that we have of ourselves, where if we see something and it basically means that we can't unsee it, which
Okay.
basically means that you have to do something and now you're involved. And it's sort of a reluctant, like, I wish I didn't know this. Now I have to act on it. So that's basically where I would put Michael. And, whether or not he's good or bad, I
Yeah.
feel like they created Michael as a Rorschach test, depending on where you
Okay.
are in life,
Yeah.
where you are in the series too,
Yeah.
see that good, that bad, and that's the beautiful thing about what we created is it's not necessarily a metaphor or something that can be condensed into one thing, but it's an invitation for further dialogue and diving into it.
Mm. Would Hunter be friends with Michael?
I would love to be friends with Mike. I was trying to be friends with Michael while I was thinking of Michael. Whether or not he would accept me as a friend, that's up to him. Definitely out of my control, but I would love to be friends with Michael. I think he's cool.
Mm. What do you think makes Bet different from other shows right now that are streaming?
Oh my gosh. Again, every sort of process has their own rules, their own things that they're focusing on. Hard to keep track, and there's no right or wrong. For me, I think what makes this really exciting is the unique artists that we got to work with, all the way from, the cast crew, our background artists, to everyone in the production, all the way from like the production assistants to even, the one office dog that we got to have with us on set sometimes, Misha. So I feel like it's such a gift of something that is unique to the artists and larger team that built it. And that's why I'm really excited for folks to see it because they'll feel that uniqueness to it.
I was told to ask you. What's your thoughts on the whole Dance Dance revolution?
I mean, my personal thoughts, terror. I'm so bad at it. I feel like the people who are good at it, they're just a whole other realm of intelligence.
Mm,
So again, that's a game that I always tried to get better at, but I was never successful and
I
quit,
was
quite
never
frankly.
good at it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, maybe we could practice sometime. Yeah, we could figure it out.
There you go. Is there a specific episode that you can't wait for the viewers to tune in, especially like about either about your character or a certain scene that hit you the hardest?
I'm excited for the first episode because people
Okay.
get to meet a lot of the core characters that they're going to fall in love with, that they're going to,
Yeah.
either hate or kind of begrudgingly like.
Mm,
And then just to see how that transforms all the way to episode 10. There are countless episodes that I loved watching, loved prepping for. So really, I'm excited to hear not just what episodes
yeah.
and scenes are really exciting for people, but most importantly, why and what's resonating for them.
Mm. If we see a season two, what do you want to see from Michael? Like if they told you, hey, let's write down some ideas. What do you want to see? You want to see a backstory of him or something else to happen in season two?
I mean, backstories are wonderful. For me, I think what's exciting is just where the heck Michael's going to go after this
Mm,
season. When people watch
right.
it, understand what I'm saying. But there's a really interesting arc that he has. The character develops in a fantastic way. So for me, I'm right there with everyone else, where it's like, okay, where does Michael want to go if he has more
Mm,
run? So again, I'm hoping fans tune in for this show so that we can, create the opportunity to do that and explore that too. I would love that.
definitely. Last question. You mentioned the fans. What do you hope they get out of this?
This show isn't a thesis. It's not a metaphor. It's not something that they can really take something from. It's more of a doorway. And if people
Mm,
can walk through it, I'm excited to hear how they're transformed. So I'm not hoping that they take any one thing away from it. I hope that they get to make themselves an adventurer with us
yeah.
and then report back what they see.
That's awesome. Hunter, I want to thank you for giving me this. This was great. Hopefully we see you season two down the road or even more projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah,
Thank
I look
you.
forward to staying in touch.